Alrighty. Hello and welcome to the Full Send Half Mast Podcast, episode number 13. We're here to talk about some racing. We had some great
13?
racing. 33. 33. Been here a while. Dang, it's crazy. 33 episodes already in. We got a bunch of news to go over. A lot of it's basically pertaining to where people are racing next year and beyond. So that's a lot of exciting stuff there. We had Formula 1, Formula 2 in Monza this weekend. We had IndyCar, Indy NXT at Portland, as well as the Darlington Southern 500 weekend for NASCAR. We'll go through all those races, recap them for you. We also got this weekend's previews. We got the NASCAR over in Kansas, as well as the 6 Hours of Fuji for the World Endurance Championship, as well as IndyCar season finale at Laguna Seca. We'll also talk about the Truck Series. This weekend is the cut race for the first round of the playoffs. This is the Xfinity Series regular season finale, as well as we'll go over the points. We also have our infamous Driver of the Week, Bonehead of the Week segments, as well as our Radioactive of the Week, and then all of our race predictions. But before we do that, let's get a quick word from our sponsor, Dubby. Dubby Energy Blends, introducing Neurofactor, an all-natural coffee cherry extract to help fuel you with energy, laser focus, and fast reflexes. Provides concentration with important amino acids and vitamins without the crash that ordinary canned energy drinks just cannot provide. Try amazing flavors such as Dragonade, Dub Sludge, Galaxy Grenade, and my personal favorite, Beach and Peach. Buy the starter pack today, including 2 flavors and a shake cup for an extremely low price. Follow the link in the description below and use promo code DAGABOYS for 10% off of your order. Thanks to Dubby for their continued sponsorship of the Dega Boys broadcasting. Alrighty. Let's start right off with the news, right? So, news this week, rumor that maybe Romain Grosjean goes to Dale Coyne in 2024 to be reunited with them. Thoughts?
It's not a bad thing, is it? I mean, Grosjean did a lot of good stuff there. Then he went to Andretti, and it all seemed to just fall apart. So, it might be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's really, where else is he going to go? I feel like that's probably his best option anyway. And then Lance Stroll re-signs with Aston Martin for 2024. I think this is terrible, but we'll let it run her back again next year and see what happens. Oh, man. And then there's rumors that AJ Allmendinger may not be returning to the number 16 car in the Cup Series in 2024. Do you think this is going to happen? I do personally. I think he's going to go back to Xfinity full time. I've been saying that since the beginning of the year. That's what he should have did anyway. Should never went Cup racing.
Yeah, I don't know. He did say in the media though that no matter what, he's going to be wearing a Colleague fire suit next year. So whether that's Xfinity or Cup, I don't know. I think he has a lot more fun in Xfinity, and so why not? Why wouldn't he? He's what, 40? Almost 40 years old?
Yeah, he's probably over 40.
Still in his 30s?
No, I think he's in his 40s. I would be pretty positive on that.
So he is reaching his prime, or maybe has passed his prime years. I don't know. I think he had a lot more fun in Xfinity. I think he's a lot more fun to watch in Xfinity.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, well, it adds an extra layer of. We've been saying that the Xfinity series, best diversity in drivers. The field in Xfinity right now is so strong, and having the mix of veterans and young drivers, and then experienced drivers, and it's just a great field. So I think that'd be a great spot for him next year. I would love to see that. Also, Linus Lundqvist signs a multi-year deal with CGR. How about that? We'll see.
That's a little bit of a blindside right there, if you ask me. I never saw that.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And then Formula 2, potentially new car in 2024. I guess that's interesting to note. We'll see what they come up with that. And then also, for all of your dirt track fans out there, the Chili Bowl is contemplating doing a uniformed car, like a similar car chassis setup for everybody in 2025. I mean, that's what pretty much every racing series has done, right? Going to these standardized racing vehicles. It's kind of a dying art to have ingenuity and creativity anymore. So, yeah, I don't know what to think about that. I mean, it's still a Chili Bowl. It's still gonna be amazing, regardless of what they do. best drivers. Hard to make that race, so I think it'll still be interesting. And then this one's kind of blindsiding to me too. Right here is De Benedetto not returning to Rackley War 2024 in the Truck Series. I mean, does he think he's going to get a better ride? What are your thoughts? Is it what perspective?
Why would he leave that if it was anything other than like a colleague deal?
Cup, right?
Because where's Hemrick gonna go? You know, I think it'd be a little crazy if Colleague re-signed Hemrick.
I think that'd be absolute bananas. I think if Matt Colleague and Chris Rice did that, I feel like it would have to be sponsorship.
I thought it was crazy that they signed him in the first place.
I agree. I agree. He's definitely it's not it.
I personally think it's got to have something to do with Colleague. And I mean, I don't know what the rumors are or anything of that, but I personally think it has something to do with Colleague and AJ Allmendinger.
That's a good speculation. I mean, there's a lot that's going to happen here in this offseason with Colleague, right? There's so many people linked to Colleague right now. Like Gregson could come back and jump in Colleague car. We could see Hocevar maybe jump up to the Cup Series in a Colleague car. There's a lot that can unfold here for Colleague. That's really the only open spot there is left in the Cup Series right now. Like anything that's linked to being open, it's literally the Colleague cars. What are they going to do next year? So we'll have to see. Maybe we'll see De Benedetto back in the Cup Series for Colleague. That'd be interesting. Give him another chance at it. Also, Felix Rosenqvist signed a multi-year deal with Meyer Shank. He's leaving McLaren. Is this a win? This is an L? What would you say?
This is a big win.
I would agree. I'm glad you said that.
I mean, if you like losing, you go with McLaren. That's just a fact. And then, you have Mr. Proud Boy over there wearing that clown suit with pride, Zach Brown. I mean, you can't lose in a situation like that if you're Rosenqvist.
Yeah. Well, and I look at Meyer Shank as that team that if you want to expand your racing horizons, that's the perfect team to sign with, right? It's like how Chip Ganassi used to be back in the day, where if you raced for him in the Cup Series or IndyCar or whatever, you're driving IMSA cars, you're in the Le Mans race, you're doing everything because it's got all these feet and all these different doors. So I think it's a big win for Rosenqvist because I think that if he gets in the right scenario, I think he can win races. I think he can. So we'll see.
I agree.
Also, Andretti Autosport being rebranded to Andretti Global. Maybe preparations for the Formula One team. Maybe other ventures. I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, that's a brand, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you look at Ganassi, you look at Penske, Andretti, Hendrick. These are brands. These are worldwide racing brands. So why not brand the Andretti name? Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then Denny Hamlin finally signs that multi-year deal with Joe Gibbs Racing. Me and Tom, I know we've been talking about this a lot off stream. We're like, what is going on with this deal? Like, I kept saying I believe he's going to re-sign with Gibbs. I just don't see him not doing it. But nothing was reported, so I couldn't be 100% positive on it. And then you, Tom, you're just like, if he hasn't signed yet, is he? Is he going to sign? So that's interesting. That
was insane. The amount of time that went by with no updates or anything, and then on top of that, 2311 met with Ford. What else do you expect us to think? There was nothing put out there. So I don't know. That was kind of comical, actually, in my opinion.
That is really comical. It was the drama that made it interesting, I think so. Who knows? But we'll see. Hamlin, I obviously wants to end his career with Joe Gibbs. I don't know why you wouldn't. If you've been there that long and that same number your whole career, why would you not want to end there? So, And then is there another one that you have here?
Yeah. So Nico Rosberg kind of dropped something the other day that there's a rumor going on in the F1 paddock right now that Lando Norris is looking to switch F1 teams.
Really?
And yeah. It is crazy to me too. I don't even know if that would be considered something that you would take seriously, because when Daniel Ricciardo was at McLaren, there was a huge bonding time there with Norris and Zach Brown. Like, Zach Brown was almost a father figure to Lando Norris. So, and some people remember that, some people might not, but I find it really weird that there is a rumor going around the paddock saying that Lando is looking for a new team. It could be in the form of the 2026 deals with Andretti coming into the sport, or Audi, or whatever it may be, but Norris has a contract through 2026, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know. I just found it extremely interesting.
Do you think it could be using this as leverage to get a pay raise or something?
I don't know. Them contracts are so watertight,
Right.
waterproof, however you want to say it. I mean, in order to buy out of it, it's going to cost them a lot of money. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weird stuff. That's weird stuff. Especially, I don't know. I feel like all these Norris fans, which are basically the same as Chase Elliott fans, which are almost the same as Haley Deegan fans, they're all the same. Like if he leaves McLaren, I mean, there'll probably be revolts because I feel like they associate him to McLaren. It's weird. But whatever McLaren's been doing on all ends of motorsports recently is just weird. It's just they're
cult-like,
struggling. Man. They're weird. Their fan base is weird. Like everything is just weird.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's cult-like.
It is. I mean, with the Pelot stuff going on, and then they can't win a dang race in IndyCar, and with great drivers, in my opinion. And then their F1 team has got this golden boy held up. They can't even get out of their own way. It's like, it's weird. This whole thing's weird. Clown show. Clownery at the finest level here.
Yes.
All right. So we'll recap the races this weekend. We had, as I said, Formula 1, Formula 2 in Monza, IndyCar, Indy NXT there in Portland, ARCA at the DuQuoin State Fair, as well as Xfinity Cup at Darlington. We'll kind of recap the Xfinity race. This one was pretty simple to race from start to finish, right? 200 miles at Darlington, the Sports Clip haircuts, VFW Help You Hero 200. Nemechek was on pole. We had a few incidents in the first stage, including Sammy Smith and Josh Williams. Nemechek wins stage 1, wins stage 2, looked like he had control of this race. Later in this race, on one of the late pit stops, Hill ended up leaping him, got ahead of him. He maintained the lead there for a little while. Then we had some wrecks late that kind of affected these overtime restarts. Really, the main things to talk about here before we talk about who won this race was that caution with 6 laps to go when Sam Mayer dumped Parker Kligerman. It seems like this guy every week is running somebody over. I mean, it was for what, like 18th place on track? I mean, it wasn't like they're battling for top 5 or anything. And PK's on the, as we'll talk about later, is right on that playoff cut line. This was almost detrimental to his season to get ran over like that. But post-race,
weapon.
Parker Kligerman, man, he had a lot of he didn't really get like angry. He had like a lot of resolve in that situation. I was surprised because if I was in his position, I probably would have been a little heated. I would have, honestly, because he's like racing for this playoff life right now. And he's like, I don't know. Something like he was like, that's racing, I guess. I mean, I guess it is racing, right? A little bit of drama, a little bit of racing all in the same fun. And then overtime restart, and I thought this was really weird because Hill took the bottom line on this restart for overtime, gave Hamlin the top, and then Hamlin ends up winning. I just thought it was a really weird decision by Austin Hill to take the bottom on this restart. I feel like it personally cost him the race. I think he was better than Hamlin. Well, maybe. It was close. But yep, Hamlin goes on to win the Xfinity Series race. And then I'm sure he was getting flipped off at the end there. Did you see him?
Oh yeah.
Out of the car?
Oh yeah. Did you see his Twitter page?
I did not.
His Twitter page was just pictures of people flipping him off as he's getting out of the car. Yeah. It was hilarious.
I love it, man. I love it.
I love it too.
That's awesome.
It's great.
This is great stuff. Again, like I said, though, it's his lack of self-awareness at the end of the day is what's put him in this situation. I mean, if you're going to do the stuff you're going to do, just own it, man. Like, way more respect if you do this and you own it, man. It's like when you do it, then you don't own it. It's like, it's hard to pull for you then. Because, I mean, what's your problem? Then we had some Formula 2 race there at Monza. We had some shenanigans this weekend. We saw in the sprint race. Beauchamp qualified on pole. He completely missed turn 1, handed the lead over to Vesti, and then Vesti went on to win the race. Feature race. The feature race was hilarious. We saw Teo Porcher. He's your points leader, qualifying on pole. Early on lap 1, Behrman ended up overtaking him. And then Vesti got completely just driven off the track here by Stanek. They were coming down one of the straightaways, and Vesti got a run on him to the outside, and Stanek just turned right and just drove all the way to the grass. Vesti tried to save it, spun out, made contact with the wall. He was your second at point trying to close in on Porcher. Ruined his race. So Stanek, if you guys get a chance to watch it, we'd show it here, but we can't, unfortunately. You have to, all their violations and whatnot won't allow us to do that. But if you guys get a chance, go check out the highlights for the Formula 2 feature race at Monza. I mean, Stanek is an absolute bum. That was some good stuff. And then we saw a bunch of different strategies. We had some great race in there after that safety car with the Vesti between Daruvla and Iwasa. That was great racing. I thought it was entertaining, back and forth swaps for the lead. But then ultimately, Behrman ends up cycling back to the lead at the end of this race and ends up winning it. So congratulations to him. I think this is his second Formula 2 win, if I'm not mistaken. I think he won earlier this year at, I can't even remember, the street circuit that they messed Vesti out of. We talked about it. But anyway, he won this race as well. So, and then also Sunday was actually the ARCA Series Southern Illinois 100. This was on at the same time as the Southern 500, which I thought was weird. But Swallich qualified on pole. Him and Jesse Love battled it out. The major incident in this race, though, 45 to go. Sean Hingorani doing Sean Hingorani things and completely runs over Sean Core and Frankie Muniz.
Dude, what's wrong with that guy?
I feel like, dude, this guy's got like a switch in his brain, man. He's like doing great, and then he just flips the switch and just turns into an absolute clown.
Like, look, if you type in Sean Hingorani ARCA on YouTube, it's the first video is a wreck, second video wreck, third video wreck, fourth video wreck, fifth video clown face, sixth video. All right, now you get your first interview.
And the messed up part is, man, is this guy's got a ton of talent, bro. He's just like doesn't know how to use it effectively. It just cracks me up. But yeah, he took him out completely.
ARCA pit crew member almost hit by Sean Hingorani twice.
Oh man. Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier today too, was like our drivers that we would want to put into a race to see how many guys would survive to the end. We had a long list of drivers. It was great. We'll have to run through that. Maybe we'll do that at the end of the podcast. We'll run through the drivers we nominated for this awesome race idea we've got planned. You guys might enjoy it. So stick around to the end. You guys will enjoy it. And then at the end of this race, Jesse Love ends up winning it. Again, I mean, this guy is unstoppable in the ARCA series this year. I mean, where can't he win? What can't he win in? He's won on road courses, dirt tracks, short tracks, super speedways, like every type of track they've been to, he's won. He is the next rising star. I mean, and this ARCA field this year is no slouch like it has been the last 3 or 4 years. This is one of the strongest ARCA fields we've seen in over a decade, and he is just absolutely slaughtering him on a weekly basis. It's incredible. So, wow. I feel like that kind of foreshadows what the theme of this weekend was, right? Which we'll talk about more here in a little bit, right? Next would be the Indy NXT Firestone Grand Prix of Portland. We saw Foster on pole. I'm laughing because the lap 1 of this race, man, turn 1, absolute shenanigans. What was it? What's his name? Can't even remember his name right now off the top of my head. But he driving for the in Nannini's old car, right? So they replaced.
Oh, Brabham?
No, it wasn't Brabham. It was the other one. God, I can't even remember his name. I should have wrote it down. But he drives through the corner right into Reese Gold's back and slams into, I think it was Rasmussen. The points leader got turned here. McElroy got turned here. Simpson got wrecked in this. Jacob Abel, pretty much all of your points contenders who still have a chance to win the title got taken out in lap 1 of this race. And then the funniest part about this, right, is they put Reese Gould under investigation for causing the incident. And his crew chief goes over the radio. He's like, "This is great. They're going to investigate us for getting ran into as causing an incident." And then IndyCar officials end up having to review it, and they found out that he was just a victim. He was so mad, dude. That was just comical. But yeah. And then another notable in this race was Jagger Jones. After surviving that wreck, he's running P4 at the end of this race, and then he went off the track trying to defend P4. Really, probably one of his best performances he had all season, and he threw it away. But Louis Foster starts on pole, survives lap 1, and goes on to win. And this is a much long-awaited win, right? Like, he's been on the verge of winning one. So for him to get this win was just no shocker to me. I actually picked him as my dark horse to win this race, I believe. So it didn't surprise me that it won.
Since Detroit, man, he's been due a win.
Yeah. I mean, it's like everything bad. He's like the Sheldon Creed of the Indy NXT. I mean, anything that can go wrong has gone wrong for him this season. So, yeah, congratulations to him. And now I think with that result too, Rasmussen did come back to finish P6, and then I believe you're second in points now after McElroy, Abel, Simpson, all them guys had trouble. I think now that moves Nolan Siegel back into contention to win. We got a doubleheader this weekend, so there is an outside chance Nolan Siegel can steal his championship away from Rasmussen. We'll have to see. We'll give you our predictions here towards the end of this podcast. And then, like I said with the Jesse Love thing, the continuing theme of the weekend, the Formula One Italian Grand Prix, saw Carlos Sainz qualify on pole. Did a great job hanging on to this lead there until about lap 15. Verstappen takes the lead, and then it was over from there. I mean, Verstappen goes on to win 10 races in a row. Record breaker? Can we get that? Record breaker? Formula One's been around since what, like the 30s, 40s?
50s.
Yeah, 50s. And we've never seen anybody win more than 9 races in a row, and Verstappen just won 10 in a row. I feel like this never got enough attention. How did this not get the attention it deserved, right? I mean, it blows my mind. This should have been national news, worldwide news. This should have been blowing up everywhere. Like, everybody should have heard about this. Like, this is insane what he just has done over the last 10 weeks. Am I overblowing this up, or is that really what happened this weekend?
No, it's a record that's been broken, and it's been 10 years since the last time that a record like this has been broken with Sebastian Vettel. But same car, same team, they breaking their own records, which is crazy because, I mean, we're in the same century, It's but yeah, nonetheless, a record was a very tall, high order record was broken, and it's insane.
Yeah, it's the odds of actually doing what he did are so stacked against you, because you got to count on qualifying up front every week, so you get out of that lap 1 carnage, surviving turn 1, car reliability, being able to get to the end of a race, not making any mistakes, not on pit road, not on track. Like, what he did 10 weeks in a row, this is literally insane. I am just thoroughly impressed. Watching this race, everybody's going to be like, "Oh, Verstappen wins again in a row." I sat there with the complete opposite perspective, and I was in awe. And the downside to this too is the announcers at the end of the race, they never mentioned him going for 10 in a row until about 1 lap to go. They finally started hyping it up. So I feel like that was a crime from Formula One for not building this up.
Well, it's because Lulu didn't do it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is 100%
That's
true.
why.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just I feel like it's a crime. Whatever F1 did this weekend to promote this, they did terrible at it. But with that being said, Perez got P2, drove up to P2, and then we saw a great battle at the end there between the Ferraris for podium, between Leclerc and Sainz was actually able to hang on. And then Oscar Piastri ended up getting the fastest lap right there at the end. That was pretty impressive. So congratulations to him. And for points for Formula One, it's not much to talk about. We'll just kind of give the rundown with the drivers, and then we'll just say who was leading the constructors. So for Verstappen, he's currently 145 points over Perez. So I mean, this is gonna be over before we even get 4 races to go in the season. It's almost mathematically over now. I don't know how it's not. And then Alonso is 194 points back. So that's interesting there. And then for constructors, obviously Red Bull's just way ahead. it's not even worth mentioning the other ones at this point. Although I do want to note Ferrari did move up to P3 in the constructors. They did get by Aston Martin because of a guy that they just re-signed to come back next year. I just want to make that note. Alrighty. And to continue the theme, right? We talked about Jesse Love continuing his dominance. Max Verstappen continues his dominance. We got it again in the IndyCar race. We saw Graham Rahal qualify on pole. We had a little bit of an incident on lap 3 with Will Power spinning, but Palou was able to cycle to the lead with strategy, right? How is Palou doing this? Every race, it seems like his team just has a strategy that just works. I mean, I don't know how he did it. He was running like third, fourth there. Rahal is pulling away. I can't remember who was running second at the time. They checked out, and then all of a sudden, you look back at after the first pit cycle and the strategy with tires, and Palou's 9 seconds ahead of his teammate Dixon. Like, this is insane what Palou has done this season.
Yeah. It's not just the strategy though. I mean, that guy is the fastest car on track no matter where we go. You know, and except for ovals, really. But in the grand scheme of things, you race ovals 4 times a year in IndyCar, 5 times?
And he would have won the 500. Matter. I mean, he would have won the 500. He was the best car at the Indy 500. So, yeah.
Thanks, Renus.
Yeah.
But anyways, he could have won the Triple Crown this year in IndyCar.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, which it's going to happen. You just can't. I don't know. Something big has got to change in order for him not to have a season like this season next year.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I don't see anybody out there that is really really much better than him. But so Palou, he went on to win this race. I guess the one thing I do want to talk about here is, and we'll talk about it more when we get to the Cup race, because I just want to draw a similarity here, right? So in this race, late in this race, about 20 seconds to go, we saw Canapino spin, right? IndyCar held the caution to allow all of the guys that hadn't pit yet to make a pit stop, right? Just want to make that note. We'll talk about it here more in a minute. Okay, and then, like I said, Palou wins the race and wins the championship. With one race to go, right? Like I said with Verstappen, how hard is it to win 10 races in a row? Talk about how winning a championship with one race to go in IndyCar, modern day IndyCar, spec racing.
Yeah, you don't have that. You don't. Usually, every final race in IndyCar, there's a battle, and there's a battle to the very last lap. So that's insane what Palou has been able to do this year in IndyCar. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, we're witnessing like some of the best drivers in the world doing the best things ever. I know, and one more thing I want to talk about. I know we've talked about this off air. I think I even texted it to you. Can we get Verstappen v Palou in Red Bulls next year for the Formula One World Championship? Can we get this? This is like a dream scenario, man. Everybody wants to see what Tyson versus, I don't know, just Manny Pacquiao versus Mayweather. Everybody wanted to see that fight, right? Everybody wanted that.
Yes.
Everybody wanted McGregor versus Mayweather. Can we get Palou versus Verstappen? Can we get this? If you're Christian Horner, I'm getting Palou in a Red Bull next year. I'm finding a way to make this happen. If I gotta buy out his IndyCar contract, if I gotta ship Perez back off to Mexico, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out how to make this happen. That'd be insane.
Yeah, it would be.
But you can't get everything. Watch. it would make for an insane storyline. I mean, I think 2 of the best open wheel drivers of our generation being able to duel it out for a world title would be insane with similar equipment. I mean, that just dream scenario. But we'll move on to the Cup race, the Southern 500. Saw Christopher Bell on pole, and then his first pit stop, he had a slow stop. This is the beginning of the end for Bell. There's a reason why I left him out of my playoff grid, and he just completely proved me right this weekend. He had an absolute catastrophic race. It was like every time I looked around and they showed Bell on track, he was either hitting something, he was messing up on pit road, losing time, going a lap down. I mean, He was all over the place this race. It was insane. And then same with Logano. Logano had some wall contact early. Non-factor, doing Logano type things. And then Hamlin wins stage 1. I thought the most funny part here was on lap 180 when they had to red flag the race because the lights didn't work. That is just awesome, dude. Oh man. That added some drama, I feel like. But yeah, and then we had a caution right at the end of stage 2 between Cindric and Gibbs. I mean, it's Cindric. I mean, I'm not gonna. There's just nothing more you could say about it. Really, it is what it is. Then they did like a 1 lap restart shootout to the end of the stage, which I think is dumb. Right? You're gonna have a caution with like 3 to go in a stage. You're gonna clean it up as fast as you can to run 1 lap under green, just to go right back to caution at the end of the stage. Why not just end it under freaking caution? Like, what are we doing, NASCAR?
Big Daddy.
Oh, man. So, yeah, Hamlin ends up winning stage 2. Looks like he's got this race under control. Comes in and make a pit stop there with 94 to go. Loose wheel. This is why Hamlin will never win a championship.
I got a theory about this. You ready? They had that car so cheated up. He was not going to win that race anyways. It was still a great points run for him. All right. Won both stages, led the most laps. Unfortunately finished 20th, 20 or 26th or something like that. But he got 20 bonus points. So he got 20 points. He finished 25th, which is 25 points.
Right.
So he made 45 points.
And got 2 playoff points to add to the next round. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bad theory. I mean, you might not be out shooting too far out there.
It's not a bad strategy, honestly.
Especially in
just
a round.
Cheat the hell out of the car.
Yeah. Especially in a round where you don't gotta win anyway.
Loose wheel. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, or you back it into the wall and you come back down for repairs. So all the cheating you did is now null and void because you can claim crash damage. And then you just keep going around the track and finish 20th or whatever. And you get your 20 bonus points and your 2 playoff points and you go home. It's still a good points day.
It's not a bad theory. I like that. We're like, I can already hear it now, man. All these people got their tinfoil hats on looking at us. All right. And then at this point, Reddick cycles to the lead, and then this is why I mentioned the Indy NXT race earlier with or the IndyCar race with Canapino spinning, IndyCar holding the yellow to allow the rest of the field to cycle through to make their pit stops. Newman spins out right behind Reddick after Reddick had lapped him. Harvick's running P2. He comes to pit road. Right as he's coming to pit road, Newman spins. NASCAR threw the fastest yellow I've ever seen. And then Harvick was too far beyond the commitment box. He had to make his pit stop. Cost him the race. Took him completely out of the race.
Why did they pit the car, though? Just drive through.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's what really screwed him.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, don't put it in your own hands. Don't put it in Big Daddy NASCAR's hands, because you know what Big Daddy NASCAR will do. They could have completely controlled that scenario by not pitting.
And it really doesn't surprise me either, because look what Rodney Childers did in Phoenix earlier this year. So I guess it really doesn't surprise me. It's just so disappointing.
Yeah, I'm still mad about that Phoenix thing. Yeah, exactly. It's just, but Byron and Larson were behind him. They were able to swerve out because they were close enough to not make the box. But I mean, I don't know. It's a tough situation, right? Because it was very similar to what we saw in the IndyCar race, right? Where he spun off track. Newman spun out of the racing groove, not affecting pit lane entrance. He's not on the track, causing any problems. Usually when a car spins, they'll give him a second to try and get it refired and spun around. They didn't give him any time. They just instantly threw the yellow. So yeah. I don't know. I get it. I mean, I get the whole scenario and everything. Just if you're Rodney Childers, don't pit the car. If you're NASCAR, be consistent. That's all we ask. So that's my takeaway from that.
Yep.
And then with 49 to go, we saw Alex Bowman make a double block on Suarez. Bonehead move of the week. What are you doing? I mean, throwing double blocks for what, 9th Doesn't make any sense, especially with the year that him and Suarez are having. They're both in the same boat, just having extremely disappointing seasons. Can't get out of their own way.
Did you hear the interview of Bowman after that wreck?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
There's some real beef happening there between him and Suarez's crew chief, man.
I think there's a lot of beef going on between the 99 team and the 48 team. And I think it stems from a lot of things. Like, if you remember back at Coda, when everybody blamed Bowman for running into the whole field there, when if you go back and look at it, it happened like 8 cars back, and it was an accordion effect that ended up at Bowman that got into Suarez. Yeah. And so I think it's some of that. And then you've had
everybody blamed Chastain.
Yeah.
And then they looked at the video footage, and it's Chase Briscoe pushing him into the corner. Yeah. So
I
remember that. Yeah.
That was probably the start of this whole thing. And then if you look back at a couple other races this year, like especially at Michigan, I believe it was, when Bowman was trying to pass Suarez on track, and Suarez threw about 6 to 8 blocks on him in a row, lap after lap, just kept blocking him down the straightaway. And then there was another race as well where I think Suarez threw up the middle finger at Bowman. I think it was at Charlotte or something like that. So there's been a lot of stuff building on. And then I think Bowman did something to Suarez on another race where he might have hooked him or something at Bristol Dirt or something like that. So I feel like this has been building for a while, and it just finally came to a head on track. That's my opinion. There's a lot of animosity between these people, and I think it just boiled over. But at the end of the day, we said, yeah. Oh man, it's a comedy show. But at the end of the day, if you, like we said with Bubba earlier this year at Talladega, making the triple block, can't make more than one block. You get one block, and he made 2 blocks. Unfortunately, that nominates you as a bonehead move of the week. There you go. Congratulations. And yeah, and then that was it. I mean, Larson ended up going on from there to win the race because he cycled to the lead after that last restart there, got by Reddick and won the race. And like I said with Verstappen, Palou, dominant performance really for Larson. This is a racetrack. The way I equate this win, right? A lot of people overlooking it, but Larson has been historically one of the most dominant drivers at Darlington. And he has not found a way to win this race. Whatever it is that takes him out, making a pit road mistake late, getting the wall and leading the race and finish 20th, or like Chastain earlier this year, making contact. This Darlington track is like the equivalent to Dale Earnhardt in the Daytona 500. This is a race he wants to win, has always wanted to win, and has been so close to winning. He did it. He finally did it. Big moment for Larson. I think this win. And he even said it after the race. He said, this was one of the tracks I had on my list and knocked down. He won the Knoxville Nationals. He's won the Chili Bowl. This was one that was on his list. He wanted to win the Southern 500. This was one of his 10 races or 9 races he's dreamed of always winning. And he did it. So big moment there for him. Now that we've covered all the races, I'm going to go over our driver of the week and bonehead of the week polls. This week, we nominate Max Verstappen, 10 in a row. Alex Palou, clinching the championship, and Kyle Larson, winning the Southern 500. I mean, normally we use the driver of the week to be kind of somebody you don't expect to run well, and we nominate them as doing a great job outperforming where their expectation was. But when you had these 3 historical things happen this weekend, you can't not put that as your driver of the week nominees. So I'm really curious to see who you guys vote for driver of the week out of these 3 drivers that did everything they could have imagined this weekend. So that's awesome. And then for bonehead of the week, obviously I'm going to nominate Roman Stanek for running Frederick Vesti off the track in the Formula 2 feature race. Go look it up if you guys get a chance. Hilarious. Oh, that's his name. That ran into everybody at the Indy NXT. Victor Franzoni, bulldozer mode into turn 1 Indy NXT race. Took out like 4 of your championship contenders in one swoop. And almost got away with it. They almost penalized the wrong guy.
Almost, yeah.
Oh, man. And then, obviously, Alex Bowman, double block on Suarez. Just, you can't do it. It's not acceptable. Doesn't matter who you are. You can't make 2 blocks in racing. That's my opinion. All right. Well, before we get into the notable entries and go through all of the what's at stake this weekend race-wise, we'll go over the Cup Series cut line. Right now, after Darlington, Bubba Wallace is currently sitting outside in 13th, -1. Harvick's -2. Ricky Stenhouse, -4. And Michael McDowell, -19. So we will continue to do that throughout the playoffs. We'll just put the bottom 4 in the playoff standings for the review. Now it's time to talk about what's at stake, right? So this weekend is, like I said, the Xfinity Series regular season finale. And right now, we have Riley Herbst sitting in at 10th, or at 11th, or excuse me, sitting in at 12th. Parker Kligerman sitting in at 13th, -1. And outside looking in, a guy that might have been predicted to make the playoffs in Junior Motorsports Equipment, Brandon Jones, in a must-win scenario. At a track that he's historically been good at. So there's a lot to look at in this race. We got that pretty much triple-headed monster to make the playoffs. And then, just like the Cup Series, anybody and anybody and their mom that enters this race that's ran full-time season can win this race and make the playoffs. So that's that storyline. And then also it's the Truck Series first round cut race. And right now your two guys out are Rhodes at -3 and DiBenedetto at -20. So Rhodes, he can mathematically point his way in. I'm thinking DiBenedetto's in a must-win scenario this weekend. I just don't think there's any way he can make up 20 points. That's a steep climb, especially in the Truck Series. So, alrighty. Now it's time to do our notable entries, right? So this weekend in the Truck Series, we got Jesse Love racing in the #1 Tricon truck. I am super excited for this. I am so excited for this. Precursor maybe for next year. I think he would do way better than, say, Dean Thompson or...
Wow, hey now, Dean Thompson can do very well if the 13 didn't take him out every race.
That's true. That's true. And then we have Greg Van Alsten, the #20 for Youngs. That's good for him. And then Bailey Curry back in the #41 niche truck. Maybe a potential sleeper, dark horse. I don't know. Xfinity Series, we have Derek Kraus back in the #10 for Colleague. The All-Star car, Joe Graff Jr. in the #19 JGR car, and then Rajah Cruz back in the Alpha Prime #45. Super excited for that. Cup Series, Hocevar. Can we just talk about how freaking good of a race car driver this guy is? He stayed on the lead lap the whole day at Darlington as a rookie with a team he's never ran for before. His second career Cup start, Southern 500, the toughest race to run. He stayed on the lead lap the whole race. If that doesn't say superstar, or rising superstar, I don't know what does. I don't know what to tell you. Anybody
you just need to change your definition. If you don't think that that's not the definition of a rising superstar, then you need to change your definition.
Agreed. Yeah. Insane what he did. I mean, literally insane. So, yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what he does this weekend at Kansas. Not that they're going to do good. I mean, but still. Give him another chance. I feel like if this guy needs to be on somebody's radar. And if he doesn't stay in the trucks next year, which I think he should, he better not take anything worse than a top-notch Xfinity ride. And he shouldn't go to the Cup unless he gets an absolute great ride. In my opinion, I think he'd be wasting his potential and talent. So, and then obviously in the Cup Series this weekend, Cole Custer's back in Rick Ware Racing Equipment. And then the one I'm really excited for, I know it's a live fast car, but Sheldon Creed going to be making a start in the Cup Series. I'm super excited for this. I'm a huge Creed fan. I want to see him do well. I just want to see him win one race this season. Come on, man. One time, get the bad luck behind you. And then this weekend is also the 6 hours of Fuji for the World Endurance Championship, second to last, or the penultimate race in the season. Hypercars got 12 entries. It's a lot less than we've seen in the past. LMP2's got 11, and then 13 GTE cars. And then in IndyCar, Yuri Vips is in the #30 for RLL again, and then Blomqvist in the #60 for Meyer Shank. All right, predictions. Friday is the ARCA Series, Sioux Chief Fast Track 150 at Kansas. My favorite this weekend, I'm going to take Sawalich because he's not running trucks this weekend. I feel like he's going to put all of his focus on ARCA, and I mean, between him and who's the only guy that can beat Jesse Love at his level right now, it's Swalich, so I'm taking him. And then my dark horse, I'm not sure if he's racing or not, but I feel like he's been really good on the intermediates and ARCA Series this year, and very underrated race car driver. I'm going to take Andy Jankowiak as my dark horse. I feel like he can get a solid top 5 finish, maybe potentially a top 3. Bold prediction. Who do you got, Tom?
For favorites, it's either gonna be Sawalich or Love. You chose Sawalich. I'll choose Love, and I'll leave it at that. And then the dark horse, I kind of went back and forth on this one. I really do feel like Frankie Muniz is going to be really good here this weekend, especially with what he has learned and how much he's grown as a driver. But I still can't really deny the fact that Tony Breidinger is just on a roll right now, and she's going to be able to probably squeeze out another top 5, and I'm pretty confident about that.
There you go. I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. All right. Also on Friday is the Truck Series, the Kansas Lottery 200 at Kansas. My favorite this weekend, I'm taking Carson Hocevar. He is. I think he's on a wave right now. I think he's just on an ultimate high as a race car driver, and I feel like he's gonna get it done. Cut race. I think he's gonna win, lock himself in, get some more playoff points out of it for the next round, and I think he's gonna do it in pretty dominant performance. Honestly, I feel like he's just on another level right now as a race car driver. And then my dark horse, I went back and forth with multiple drivers on this, and I eventually settled on Nick Sanchez to win, or as my dark horse. I believe that he's got everything to gain, everything to lose. I feel like all this pressure's on him. He's a rookie. He's 1 point, or he's 3 points up on the cut line right now to Ben Rhodes. I think he performs. I think he does it. I think he advances to the next round, and I think he gets a solid top 5 finish and proves why he is deserving of another chance at championship, continuing to the next round.
Yeah, great picks. With my favorite, I'm gonna go with Enfinger. Hot take, I think he is going to win the championship this year. Just because of everything that's surrounding him, GMS closing, him really being the only car that can win a race this year in that camp. So I think that Enfinger has nothing to lose. He's got to go out there and win a championship. I think he is going to win a championship, but I'm choosing Enfinger, and then dark horse. I'm going with Raja Caruth because I really like Caruth. I really do. I think he can do some work. Sanchez is a great choice as well. I think that he does a great job. I think he's probably one of the best rookies that we've seen in the Truck Series in a pretty long time. I think the only one that you could just right off the rip say is better is William Byron in his rookie season, but I don't think there's really anybody else that could touch him. He's doing a freaking phenomenal job. But Caruth is also not at the point as Sanchez right now, but I think in time he will be.
Yeah, I agree. Well, he's a student of the game, and if you guys remember, he was in a winning truck when they were Kansas last year or earlier this year, and made that really bad block on Majeski, turned himself into the wall.
Yeah.
Learning moment. And he hasn't made a mistake like that since. Learning moment. So that's a great pick. I think Caruth could win this race. Honestly, he's in GMS equipment just like Enfinger. I mean, he could do it. It's a great pick.
Yeah.
Saturday is the Xfinity Series Kansas Lottery 300, the regular season finale. Like I mentioned, I believe Austin Hill wins this race. He's just on such momentum right now. I think he wins this race, secures the regular season championship, gets those 15 extra bonus playoff points going into the playoffs. And that's all I got to say about that. And then my dark horse, I really have a feeling, man. I have a good feeling about this one. Brett Moffitt. I think he is so underrated. I'm so tired of this guy not getting an opportunity. Like, he needs a good opportunity. He's taking this car that he's in, and he is top 10 every week. Every damn week, it seems, man. He's battling right up there. And for some reason, when you look at the points, if there wasn't so many winners and he wasn't competing against a Josh Berry or a Riley Herbst in points who have been pretty consistent this year, I mean, he would probably be in it. So maybe look at Moffitt's. Maybe he pulls a crazy strategy out of here and he wins this and locks himself in. That'd be a crazy storyline.
Yep. Yeah. My favorite for this race, I'm going to choose Allgaier just because he's strong every weekend. And you really can't go wrong right now with either choosing Hill, Allgaier, or Nemechek. So I think any one of those picks is a great pick. And then for my favorites, I'm not going to share the love with anybody else. I'm also going Brett Moffitt. because you cannot deny the fact of what this man has been doing with this equipment as of late. It's just insane.
I'm glad we're both on the same track there with Moffitt.
Yeah.
He's probably the most underrated race car driver right now in NASCAR. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. This weekend, the Indy NXT, the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. It's a doubleheader at Laguna Seca to round out the championship. So I believe with the first race, I think it's going to be pretty simple. I think Rasmussen's going to qualify pole. He's going to win the race, and he's going to secure the championship in race 1. The pressure will be off of him for race 2, but that's why I've got him winning race 1. And then I have James Rowe as my dark horse in race 1. I feel like if there's another guy that hasn't won a race this year that could potentially maybe get one, James Rowe. And then for the second race, my favorite in the second race, like I said, Rasmussen's going to win race 1. Pressure's going to be off. He'll have the championship secured. I think that Nolan Siegel is going to want to go out and get that last win of the season. Now that his championship hopes are done, he'll have nothing to lose, no pressure. So I think that's the reason he'll win race 2. And then, I don't know. Like I said with James Rowe, Kiffin Simpson, he's another guy that hasn't won this year. And I feel like, who knows? I'm just throwing a dart at a board. You know, maybe it'll stick, maybe won't. Who knows? But that's what I got in my 2 races.
I mean, that's every pick in Indy NXT, anyways, right? But for my first race, my favorites, I'm gonna go with Abel, and then for my dark horse, I'm going with Brabham. And then for second race, I'm gonna go with Rasmussen for my favorite to round out the season. And Ernie Francis Jr. for my dark horse. It's the same thing there. I'm just throwing a dart, hoping it hits the middle. I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I agree with your race winning picks for both those races, and I like your dark horse for the first one. But yeah, I think we're at the same point with that Francis Simpson. I think we're just like at this point we're like, it's the last race of the season. Let's just throw a dart. Let's see what hits. We're going for triple 20s and we're hitting a single one. Here we go. Oh man. And then also this weekend is the World Endurance Championship, the 6 hours of Fuji. I believe that the number 8 Toyota Gazoo team wins this race, the overall. We saw them have trouble at Monza when they had multiple incidents with their drivers and they completely botched that race. I thought they should have won it and they got beat by their teammate. I don't think that happens this time. I think they secure this win. And then my dark horse here, since Glickenhaus is no longer racing, rest in peace, Glickenhaus, I'm going to take Jota. I feel like considering that they're not a factory Porsche team and what they've been able to do this season, it's just a good storyline. It's a good storyline. So I'm going to go Jota. That's my dark horse.
For my favorite, I'm going to go with the number 4 car of Floyd Van Wall team. Purely just because, I can't stress this enough, just because of Tristan Vautier, and that's it. I mean, that's really it. And then for my underdog, I'm going to go with the number 93, the Peugeot car, because they have the coolest car on track, but
Agreed.
They can't do anything with it. They got some pretty dang good drivers too, but maybe it's the car. Maybe the car sucks, but it sure looks good.
Yeah, that could be it too, man. It's Toyota. Their car looks like junk, and they're out here winning every race. And then you got the most beautiful one finishing in the back. So yeah, who knows? What do they say? If it's pretty, it ain't fast. So who knows? Who knows? But that's gonna be a good race. I think it's gonna be a great race because this is, like I said, the battle for the championship between the Ferrari and the Toyota right now is tight. You got 2 rounds left, so this is a big race for that world championship. So we'll see what happens. Also Sunday, it's kind of a consolation race for the IndyCar series, right? The Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Yeah, I mean, this championship's wrapped up. Flo won it. So with that being said, that's kind of why I went with the pick I got. Will Power. I think he wins this race. He is pretty much won every season he's ever been in IndyCar. I think he's got like a 12, 13 season consecutive win streak going on right now. I just can't see him not going out the rest of the win or season without a win. I really don't. I know it's a long shot. He hasn't shown the pace to the Ganassi cars, and even, I mean, throw a couple other guys out there from Andretti, and every once in a while you see one of the McLarens fast, but I don't know. I have a feeling, man. I have a feeling that Will Power just turns into willpower again. Just get some stuff done. And then my dark horse, he's been dark horse all season. I mean, the season this guy has had, the turnaround from the rough starts and then the turnaround. I'm gonna go with Rahal. I think it'd be great to see him or willpower or even Alexander Rossi or Colton Herta, like somebody like that win this week. But out of all those people, I figured take willpower to win, continue the streak. Rahal, the great storyline as my dark horse.
Yeah, that's a good pick. With my favorite, I'm just gonna go with Pillow because there's nobody who's as strong as Pillow right now, and the only people who could probably challenge him is either Scott Dixon or like Rahal or Penske with an insane pit strategy. In my opinion, I don't feel like it's possible. I mean, just look what he did. Look what he did in Canada.
Oh my goodness,
man! You can't forget about stuff
that was the
like
most
that.
insane.
That's insane.
Oh my goodness!
Even last week was pretty insane. I mean, it's just I don't know, man. That dude's just on a whole new level. So, but anyways, that's who I'm choosing as Pillow. And then my dark horse, I'm gonna go with Award. And I am not a big McLaren fan at all. I think McLaren as a company really sucks. Probably got some really good people in there, but I just do not like Zach Brown, and I do not like the way they operate their teams. I think they're pretty terrible. So I don't know. I know that Award is probably one of the best drivers on the grid. I could pretty confidently say that about Herta too, but Herta, we could always say, it's car issue or equipment issue, pit strategy issue, which all may be legit sometimes, but I think with like Award and Herta, that's all the time. But you never know, it might come together this weekend for Award. I think if you're gonna do it, this weekend's the weekend to do it.
Yeah, and it's Laguna Seca. I just can't wait to watch IndyCar through the corkscrew again. I mean, that's one of my favorite sights of the entire season, so it'll be fun. Yeah, consolation race kind of really, unfortunately, everybody. I guess it's really like one of those races where it's just everybody's just got one thing to do, man. Go win the race. And send the season on a good note. See who can do it. Cup Series, the second race of the first round of the playoffs. At Kansas, the Hollywood Casino 400. I'm sticking with the car number. I kind of missed it in the first race when Hamlin won earlier this year, but I believe that the 45 gets back in victory lane with a third different driver, 2 different years. I think it's Reddick this time. I think he gets the job done. He is on fire right now. I mean, he really impressed me at Darlington. I know he's good there and he's fast, but where's that 45 team been this season? I mean, they're so inconsistent. You pick them one week and they run terrible, or you don't pick them and they run good. It's like you don't know what to think of them. So I'll take them. And then, I don't know, my dark horse. I've contemplated multiple people, but I kind of take my dark horse because I figure for the rest of the season I'm not going to take playoff drivers as a dark horse. I feel like I just kind of do that as a personal goal. So somebody that's not in the playoffs that I could see winning this race or contending for this win is the 48 team of Alex Bowman. I would say Andy Hendrick guy, but Chase Elliott has really not shown anything to me. And if anybody could, I think it's Alex Bowman. He's really turned his season around as of late. And he's got a chip on his shoulder, right? So we'll see. See if he gets it done.
For my favorite, I'm gonna choose Denny Hamlin. I'm actually taking highly controversial drivers this week. I really don't care. But I think that Hamlin finished second last year in this race to my dark horse pick, which is Bubba Wallace. So I am doubling it up here, right? I am taking 2 drivers that are in the chase. But the reason why I think that Wallace is a dark horse is not only did he have a real struggle with getting into the playoffs, he still hasn't won a race this year. So I still think that that he is a dark horse. Until he wins a race, dark horse. But besides the point, I think the Toyotas are going to be fast, no matter what Toyota you choose. There is going to be a few Chevrolets up there. I don't think Fords are going to be existent this weekend, unless something really big changed.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, I would agree with you. That's why we're gonna go over fantasy next, right? Um, I'm really confident in the Hendrick guys and the Toyotas, so that's kind of what I did with my first 4 picks here. I picked Byron, Reddick, Larson, Bubba. I think those are the guys I'm looking at. You only get 5 uses per driver in these playoffs, so I've already used Truex and Hamlin, so I figured I'd just switch it this time and run the other 2 Toyotas. So that was my thought process there. And then obviously I picked Larson last week. I'm gonna stick with him this week. I feel like he could be contender. Byron, same reason. And then for my last one, kind of what I did last week with Eric Jones, I kind of just picked a random person to be my 5th spot. I just picked Brad Keselowski this weekend. I figure I'm gonna give one Ford a chance, and if there's one, I'm gonna go with the veteran experience of Keselowski. Yeah, I don't think Harvick's got it, man. I feel like this was one of his last chances to win a race, and I was really devastated for him. So it's tough. But yep, that's what I got. That's my 5 driver lineup.
All right, I've got Hamlin, I've got Wallace, I've got Reddick, I've got Bell, and I've got Byron.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're doing great. The only one I might be different, I mean, Bell, but if I take him, he'll run terrible, and if I don't, maybe he'll turn it around. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I am going out on because it was either going to choose him or Truex, but I think that I'll give him one more chance.
Alrighty. Now it's time for the matchups, right? So the first matchup is Larson Hamlin, which is interesting because these are the guys that had that controversial last lap finish here earlier this year at Kansas. I don't know. I'm taking Larson over Hamlin. I don't have any confidence in Hamlin, dude. I don't know, man.
I have confidence that Hamlin would do the same thing over again, so that's why I'm choosing Hamlin.
He would too. Oh man. The next one, I feel like this is an easy one. Bubba versus Harvick. I mean, Bubba easily.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Agree.
And then the next one, Reddick and Bell. I think this one's another easy one. Reddick easily.
Yeah, I got Reddick too.
And then Logano and Chastain, which I think is another easy one. Honestly, I really do. Chastain, I mean, over Logano. Even though Logano won this race, or didn't he win Kansas 2 years ago? Or was it? I'm trying to remember which race. No, he won Vegas. I'm thinking of Vegas. Yeah, no, never mind. No. It's Chastain.
Yeah, I got Chastain too.
Alrighty. So we'll do the radioactive of the week segment, and then we'll get to that fun segment we told you guys to stick around for the end for. So radioactive of the week, we're gonna get a shout out. We got a guy guest last week's. It was Joseph Charles Leclerc 16 F and K 78. So shout out to you, man. Congratulations, you guessed it. Reddick was the driver that said that quote. Or no, it was Chastain that said the quote. Yeah. Yes. This week's quote, though, is, and I quote, "All right, time to get my blank head out of my blank. Sorry." If you can guess which driver said that quote in the post at the end of this podcast, you will be just like Joseph Charles Leclerc and get a shout out in next week's podcast. Also, before I forget, I want to shout out our membership program. I want to shout out Dallas Seward. He's been on his channel a lot, friend of the channel. He is a member of our channel. So if you guys want to also become members of our channel and get a shout out like Dallas does every podcast, every live, go check out our channel, look at the memberships, and choose which tier best fits your interest in the channel. It helps us out greatly. We much appreciate it. And there's great perks that you're going to get. I mean, you're missing out. That's all I'm saying. Go check that out. Alrighty, so we kind of hinted out at the beginning when we were talking about guys being carnage, right? We kind of narrowed a list down of drivers that we would like to see in a random scenarioed race, right? I'll pull up my phone. I can't remember the exact number or names that I said. Do you got the ones that you had said, and we can just kind of maybe go you first, me second, and we'll just give our names out.
So basically, well, let's talk about the race first. Talked about. So I don't know. I saw some dude getting attacked in a park by a dog, and he pulled out his pepper spray and just like completely doused the dog. And then the owner came over to him and wanted to fight him, for dousing his dog. And so then he doused the dude. It was pretty funny. And I was like, that's pretty funny, like, how do we do this in real life? So then I was like, you know what? All we need to do is get some raggedy cars and get a couple of willing people to, go to a small track, like South Boston or something, or, maybe like, Charlotte Legends track or something. And, get some like real raggedy Ford Crown Victoria cars and just put these people in, willing people, okay? You get them all together. Right before the race, you spray them down with pepper spray, and then you put a bag on their head, and then you get them in their cars, and you make them do 15 laps.
Yeah.
I'd pay to see it.
I would too. That'd be great.
Right? There'd be people like screaming in their cars they can't see. Well, and then but then it kind of developed into something else. Why do we need to pepper spray these drivers when we could just have Benjamin Peterson out on track? Or what about like Nannini, Lyle Gregson, Pastor Maldonado, Nicholas Latifi? Jay?
Yeah, we left out Jennifer Jo Cobb, Armani the Missile Williams. We've got Robert McGinnis, Paul Tracy, Natalie Decker, Matthew Jaminet, Ty Dillon, and Sean Hangarani, and then don't forget, as Tom would say, old Cooter Daly. I don't think anybody would finish.
It'd be, and then everybody would be thinking, well, why are we out on the racetrack? What's the benefit? Well, we work out a deal, and whoever wins, they get Stifler's mom for the night.
And then they send you a bill instead of a check. Oh man. Yeah, that's our idea. I think that'd be an amazing show. I think we need to see if we can make this happen. Maybe we could sponsor this someday. Maybe we'll get big enough where we can actually invite these drivers in. Put together about 30 of these Crown Vics and let them go.
Hey, if Clint Boyer's listening right now, hey Clint, you want to do a little something fun doing this kind of stuff?
We'll get it broadcasted. Maybe we can get it right there on. We'll broadcast and everything. Let's just get a little deal with CW. I mean Fox, NBC. Shoot, we'll put on ESPN.
All we need is the financial backing. We've got the brains, the broadcasting. We got all that handled.
Yep.
All of it.
There it is. Heard it here live on YouTube. We know you guys are listening. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up the podcast. I do want to note that the watch party for September will be the Bristol night race, the cutoff race for the first round of the playoffs here next weekend on Saturday night. That was the one that won the poll. It was actually pretty close between that and the Battle of the Bricks for IMSA. I was really surprised, but the NASCAR race did ultimately win. So we will be doing that. That will be coming up here next weekend, next Saturday. We will be streaming right here on YouTube, watching that race with you as we dwindle the field from 16 to 12 in the playoffs. Also, like I mentioned, check out our channel, check out our memberships. Lots of awesome perks to go through. Go check one out that fits your interest and do it. Come join the Dega Boys. Also, as you see, the Big Daddy NASCAR hats me and Tom are both wearing. Go check those out. We have our own merch store. You can get a t-shirt. You can get some hats. You can get some coffee cups, coffee mugs. You can get a bag, an apron. I mean, there's all kinds of cool stuff on there. Pants. I mean, bumper stickers. Throw a bumper sticker on your mom's minivan. Do it. Get one. So go check out our store. That helps us out greatly. We'd much appreciate it. Also, you guys could Go buy you some Dubby. Go buy you some Dubby. Some good stuff. Thanks to them for sponsoring us. And then, I guess I don't want to spoil too much, or I guess there's not a whole lot to spoil, but iRacing, anything you want to add there? Kicking that off soon. So if you're into the iRacing stuff, here it is.
We're gonna be starting up some seasons real soon here. I think next week. I gotta pull up the schedule. My bad. The 17th of September is going to be our first race for our Sunday League, which is GT3. All right. And then on our Wednesday leagues, it's September 13th. We'll be starting back up again. September 21st will be our short track series. They'll be starting back up again on Thursdays. And then on Mondays, we're still trying to figure out what we want to do. So
there you go.
Stay in the loop.
Heck yeah. Well, that's coming up next week. Getting those restarted again. So make sure to get tuned in for all of your broadcasting. iRacing fun. The best drivers in the business. That's, as always, you guys, we're going to have a great time. Come interact with us. Come watch some great racing. And I guess that's it. I mean, I think I covered it. I just want to thank everybody that likes, comments, subscribes, watches all of our content. It means the world to us. We're growing at a rapid rate. We can't thank you guys enough as we continue to put out the best content we can. There's some great videos and stuff on our channel that have come out recently. Go check those out as well. Comment. I would like to hear what you have to say, and there'll be more content coming out this week. Is there anything else you want to add before we send off episode 33?
Yeah, I'd like to send a thank you to Dallas for filling in for me. I've been sick a lot lately. I've actually had some COVID, and I still got some sinus infection going on. But on the road to full recovery, baby. But thanks, Dallas, for filling in. I appreciate it a lot. We love having you on. Heck, you should, it would be great to have him, weekly up in here with all of us.
Yeah, I agree. Dallas is fun. Fun time. I like what Tom said. Thank you again, Dallas, for filling in. That was a lot of help. It's really hard to like count for things to change and schedule and stuff. So being able to improvise for me and help me and Tom out as well. So that was awesome. Thanks again. And yeah, that'll do it. We'll be back here next Tuesday, like clockwork, for episode 34. Enjoy the races this weekend. Lots of good stuff on tap. But that's it. Take it, boys. Signing off. Episode 33. Thanks for coming.